For the introduction, transportation is a basic need in a human life. In our everyday life, we use transportation to go into places. For example, here we go from our house to school, so it is very essential to make our task easier and faster. It enables trade between people also. There are a lot of public transportation nowadays like jeepneys, buses, and taxis, but there are two commonly used by the public, which are the taxis and the jeepneys. And those people who choose to take taxis are mainly because of convenience and they want more faster to reach their destination. And there are a lot of taxi company nowadays, but our group decided to choose King Spider, Scorpion, and Airline as they are one of the biggest taxi company in the city. It is a family business led by Mr. Chiquito Obeso, and their main office is located at 6th Street, Tamtoco Drive, Happy Valley, Drama, Cebu City, Philippines.
They are our groups is conducting this study because of the following reasons. First is one of the researcher, which is Cindy, is somehow related to the owner of the taxi company, and she is interested in extending help in the operations of the taxi company. And second is that we as students, commuters, and users of public transportation, we are concerned with safe travel, which made us eager to study if there are policies that guide taxi drivers, how it is implemented, and how would it affect their performance. And third is, as future HR practitioners, the researchers, we are privileged to acquire first-hand information through this study because it will serve as a foundation in our development as future decision makers in an organization. So, next.
For the problem statement, for our main problem, what are the effects of company policies on the employee performance of the King Spider, Scorpion, and Airline Corporation? And we, after we conducted, we come up with this sub-problems. First, what are the particular policies of the company covering taxi drivers? And second, what specific company policies would contribute to employees' satisfaction, productivity, and turnover? And lastly, what recommendation can be made to the company with reference to the policies that will improve the employee?
Also known as the human capital of the organization, employees deserves attention in improving and developing its value as part of a company's source of profitability. So we would like to conduct this study because focusing on employee performance because employee performance holds a great impact to the success of the company. So the significance of the study, first beneficiary would be in the organizational level, the company itself, the King Spider, Scorpion, and Airline Taxi Corporation. Knowing that there is a continuous increase of competitors in this industry, King Spider, Airline, and Scorpion Taxi Corporation should be competent with how they manage their employees and how they implement their policies. And next is the employees. For some humanitarian reason, we would like to assess if the employees of that taxi corporation is knowledgeable about their company policies and if they are able to perform well because of that policies. The third beneficiary is the CEO of King Spider Airline and Scorpion Taxi Corporation. And the bottom line is in the revenue. As a CEO in the company, you are concerned of how your employees perform in the company. So if there is a less productivity, there is lesser revenue. The fourth is the government or the community. We are all part of that government or community as taxi users or customers of the travel and transportation like taxi. We are affected if the taxi drivers are not performing well. We are intimidated in riding taxi. So The last is the researchers. As future HR practitioners, we are convinced that this study will help us in the future in as this becomes the foundation of our being a HR and an HR practitioner.
So scope and limitations. The King Spider Scorpion and Airline Taxi Corporation as one of the biggest taxi company in the city. So we have chosen this company for our scope because like what it is written there is one of the biggest taxi company in the city. The limitations of this study may include the availability of the researchers due to varied class schedule. Financial problems may also arise since the researchers rely solely on their allowance as students, and the availability of taxi drivers to answer the survey questionnaires because they might be having hard time in answering the questionnaires due to exhaustion from their work.
We have this theoretical framework. This framework is based from the 4 pillars of management performance by Edward Lawler. It has been stated that based from him, according to him, there are 4 pillars. First is to define the performance, develop employee skills and knowledge, to manage motivation, and to have effective feedback to be able to come up with high employee performance. So from this, we have come up our own conceptual framework. And
So this conceptual framework, we identified that job description, infrastructure, the taxi units are the inputs that we will put in. Let me start with this. The taxi drivers should be aware of their tasks, of their job description, so that they could perform well. And knowing their taxi units well, their knowledge about their taxi units, that's where the company policies would enter by guiding the taxi drivers that these are the limitations or their freedom of working. So the company policies and procedures will be the throughput, and the output would result to productivity, satisfaction, and turnover. So that is the conceptual framework that we have made.
for chapter 3, our research design.
For the research design, our study is a causal research. It is about an issue that looks at the effect of one variable to another. And next is the research environment. Our study will be conducted at King Spider, Scorpion, and Airline Corporation, located at 6th Street, Tantoco Drive, Happy Valley, Cebu City, Philippines. And next will be the research respondents. The data for this study will be taken from the responses of 240 employees randomly selected from King Spider, Airline, and Scorpion Corporation using a random sampling which each taxi driver within the population of 600 has an equal chance of being selected. We choose these taxi drivers regardless the age, gender, educational status, or experience of being a taxi driver as long as they are working in King Spider, Scorpion, and Airline Corporation. Next is the research instrument. Our research made survey questionnaires assesses the views of the respondents about the effects of policies to their performance. Next will be the research procedures. Our primary source is the study used a researcher-made survey questionnaire as the primary tool in gathering data. Our secondary source, we also gather data from the human resource manager of King Spider, Airline, and Scorpion Corporation, and we also gather data from internet research.
This is how we got the sample size of our study. We use the Solvent's formula where n equals to the number of samples and the total population, E for the error of tolerance, and we we got this through this based from this solution where 600 employees are rendering services under the taxi company. So we divided it by 2.5. So we got 240 respondents. Now for the diagram of our research methodology, first we make a survey questionnaire, then we distribute the questionnaire, we gather data from that questionnaire, we analyze, then we will draw conclusions for this study. That would be all the answer.
Okay, thank you. Could you pull some chairs and you will sit in front of each other? So we can go very quickly with the paper that we have given this year. Let's start with first page. We go from first page all the way to the last page. It's like this one.
Ini sa mga
Don't let it go. Please, if you would like it to flash some items on the screen. So, you're now going for the first time a process of some kind of proposal here. The purpose is to find out the topic that is chosen. It's very, very well. And if you know where you're going. So, we will be asking you some questions and we will expect some fruitful answers on how you went through the process of preparing this research proposal. Okay. So, the topic, title of your study says, the effects of flash it on the screen, please. You know that now? The effects of company policies to employee performance in King Spider, Airline, and Scorpion Taxi Corporation. So these are three different companies.
One it is a corporation.
Three
Under
different,
one
Yes, three taxi names under one.
three different names, but only one owner.
It is a
So King Spider, Airline, and Scorpion. Why do they have different names? Why not the same name and all under
because
one corporation?
this corporation was divided to his children, each five. He has 5 children, and he divided different names with his children. Like for example, the Scorpion owned by one of his sons, and the second is another.
So it's not the children running the managing the different taxis.
So they only hold the name, but some of them are still in school. So the father is really
So the
running.
overall king is the father and the mother. How old are these children right now?
The eldest 23, second
So the 23-year-old is helping with the father already.
yes,
The second,
but she's a girl, so she's not focusing on the company.
the second,
Second is 21.
and also helping with the company.
Yes,
It's a boy.
yes.
Okay.
The
The
third
third,
one is 19. 19.
and still studying.
Yeah.
Okay, so not helping. Of the
Not
5 children, only one is helping.
not really. There sometimes they visit the offices to conduct some works, but not really like full
But I think that
time.
is not the reason why he has to separate a name the taxes for free. This is actually a company reason why he has to do that as a business model. So I think no business na naman yung diba? Nanganong sila po lang ng anak. Because like kung sa taxes reason, mas kamay kung imo siya i-break ang company. Yeah? So that is not, we will name them after the children, but not really that is not complete reason why he has to do that as a business.
Officially, what's the real name
Yeah,
registered?
it should be.
The real name registered as a business enterprise. How is it called?
Spider
sa
Airlines, I
PIR,
don't think so.
sa mayor's permit, that's name.
I know,
No.
like for example, in King Spider, so it will be King Spider Corporation. That's
No, no. You know that siya, di ba? Bola. What's the real name? Di ba? I was asking you. La. Ah. There should be the real name of this.
So,
It's
we
a corporation.
have done some interviews with the owner, but what is the registered name?
Registered
Business name, registered with PIR, with Iho, with SEN, what is it?
What we've known is in Spider, sila wala nang ask the sa way or
And that's one thing na network of
You don't know, what's the real name?
ang name na ilang gusto pag-asa mo kay dahil sa King Spider Airline Taxi
She
Corporation.
doesn't remember.
Okay, it would be better if you just come up with one registered business name, and then all these three other names for the Spider, the airline, the Scorpion. Because we have so many different names here, and it would be better if you say, yeah, what's the family name doon? Obeso Taxi Corporation. And under Obeso would be different divisions of the three different names. Because it's too long already for a time. That's the main reason why I'm asking. What's the original business name registration? So that you just put the name and do away with all these names of the Spider, the airline, and beyond. Okay, so that's something that you have to find out. Huh?
Name of the corporation. One example for your information is like the Coca-Cola International. So they have the foods and the beverages. So for beverage you have the Coca-Cola, and for the foods you have the Pizza Hut. The Pizza Hut actually is owned by Coca-Cola International. So it doesn't mean that you have to like say Coca-Cola, diba? So Pizza Hut is under Coca-Cola Foods, Coca-Cola Corporation, but they have different. So in this kind of situation, I think there is a name registered in our Securities and Exchange Commission. If ever they have registered themselves, I think we have to, and then we have to specify, okay, for this corporation we have the different taxi name, Spider, Airline, and the other one. Okay.
Okay. So, if you go back, you said it's the effects of company policies. Okay. To employee performance in the corporation. When we say effects, what do we mean? Tell me, what's in your mind when you say the effects of company policies?
Based on the conceptual framework na that it would affect three factors from the employee's productivity, employee satisfaction, and the turnover rate of the company. Like, for example, maybe because the policies which would guide them in how they perform in their job, so it might affect, some policies might affect how they perform or might lower down their productivity or might satisfy them in working. The policies might satisfy them in working for the company. Or some policies might be the reason why they would leave the company. So those are
So you want to find out if the policies being imposed by the company has an effect or no effect on the performance of the employees. When you say employees, you're referring to who? Are there other employees in the company aside from the drivers? What are they? Will you be looking at their performances?
No.
So why don't you say for the taxi drivers' performance? Because when you use the word employee, you are referring to everybody connected to the company, and that includes your mechanics, your electricians, your washers, your accounting clerks, your managers, one of them. Okay. When you say taxi drivers, are you referring to the full-time and the part-time